I am a 20-year-old woman, and 4 years ago, at the age of 16, I was using Tinder. I faked my age, saying I was 18 plus to not get declined. I was a bored teenager with little to no friends, and I wanted to be weird and talk to people. I swiped right on a few random people and had normal conversations. The third person I swiped right on, an hour after the fact, messaged me a normal hello. Since I don't want to call out names, we will call him Austin. Austin and I had a nice bond. We were both supposedly bored teenagers, and we had a lot in common. We told jokes to each other and just had a great time. About a month later, he started actually flirting with me. And I mean hardcore flirting. He was saying things like, "Can't wait to see your nudes." It kind of weirded me out, but I laughed it off and played along. He then asked for my number, and that's when things began getting out of line. He texted me a ton of inappropriate things. Things that would get you banned on Tinder. I asked him what the hell this stuff was for, and he just said, "I am just kidding, LOL." I know it may suck to hear, but for the next few weeks, everything was fine. It was as if he were acting normal to get it out of my brain. Then he asked if we could meet up. Being the ignorant teen I was, I accepted, and we met up. He asked me to meet up with him at a dead park at midnight. I was young and stupid, so I agreed. When I got there, I saw a white van. It gave me weird vibes, and since I didn't see Austin anywhere, I was contemplating leaving. Just when I started taking steps back and going back home, a 30-year-old looking man started chasing me. I nearly crapped my pants. I tried to run away, but he had what felt like brass knuckles on and punched me right below my messy bun. I started bleeding back there and fell over. The guy grabbed me, but I still tried to fight. I kicked him, which was a mistake, because he dropped me and started stomping on my arm. I had cuts and scars all over my arm, and at this point I was screaming. The guy ran away back to his van because he had heard police sirens. It turned out one of the neighbors called the police station down the block because she heard my screaming. I was rushed to the hospital. It was a week before I recovered enough to go home. I used my non-broken arm to delete Tinder, and I never plan on using it again. Still to this day, I wonder about what would have happened to me that night if the neighbor had never called the police. I am glad she did. It was Valentine's Day, and keeping up with cliché holiday traditions, it was date night. Sitting in his armchair, he excitedly read through his phone. This movie got a 9.5 out of 10 from local critics. I hope it's as good as they say. This is our first night out in how long? 4, 5 months? Chuckling, the wife replied I was going to say it felt like 4 or 5 years. The couple had welcomed a new baby to the family at the beginning of the year, bringing their head count to 4 children under the age of 6. The parents hadn't been out on the town in some time, and their plan was to revisit some of their favorite spots from past dates. They'd start with their favorite bistro downtown for some surf and turf, head to the local drive-in to catch the new slasher film, and finish the night off with some gelato down at the Riverwalk. They adored their children, but you could see on their faces how excited they were for tonight. The mother sat at the dinner table, reviewing her notes that she was leaving for Brittany. Brittany had babysat the kids in years past, but the mother still felt the need to lay everything out for her. Scanning the list one final time, she read them back to her husband. Money for pizza, soda and water stocked in the fridge, passcode to the security system, and our spare key, both our cell numbers, neighbors' numbers next door just in case. Diapers in the changing room upstairs, formula and heating instructions. Do you think I have everything? He could hear a slight paranoia in her voice. Honey, Brittany's been babysitting the kids for a while now. Don't worry, she'll be fine. A knock at the door interrupted the husband's reassuring message. He walked to the door and peered through the side windows. Brittany was at the door waiting, but she was a half hour early. A little confused, he opened the door and let her in. Hi Brittany, you're a bit early. We didn't need you to come over until 6, the husband claimed. With the typical inflection and pep you'd expect from a young teenager, Brittany quickly replied, "Oh, I know, but I got off of work early, and I know you mentioned how excited you both were, so I figured I'd give you a head start on your date." Impressed and a little shocked, the husband and wife welcomed Brittany in, reviewed their list, brought her up to the playroom where the kids were hiding out, and said their goodbyes. At dinner, the husband and wife were having the time of their lives. The food was excellent, the cocktails were great, and the band was playing their favorite songs. This would be an evening to remember. As they were finishing the main course, the mother felt a vibration in her purse. Brittany was calling. Sneaking in one last bite, she answered. Before she could say hello, Brittany spoke. Hey, it's Brittany. So sorry, I'm calling so late. I know we agreed on me coming over at 6, but I ended up getting stuck late at work and I won't be able to come babysit tonight. I know you're probably sitting at home wondering where I am. I'm so sorry if I ruined your date night. Hopefully I can come watch the kids tomorrow if that works for you. Hello? Are you there? The wife dropped her phone into her food. The husband looked up, puzzled. Be careful who you match with. Okay, so this happened last night through this morning. I had to relocate for work. I'm far away from home, which is fine by me. All of my work projects were put on hold due to weather, so I've been stuck at home. I've only been here a couple of weeks, so I still don't know anybody. After watching Netflix all day yesterday, I decided to take an Uber out to a nearby bar to just have some social interaction going on around me. I met this guy through a dating app a few days ago, and we were talking about going out sometime at the end of the week. I figured it wouldn't hurt to invite him out. He agreed to meet me at the bar and did. We stayed there for maybe 3 hours. We weren't drunk or anything, but we ended up having a very nice evening. He is a medical technician, he had pets. At one point he and I had gone abroad to the same location. We just hit it off. He seemed like the ideal date. So I invited him over to have a glass of wine. We drove over in his car. We skipped the wine, went straight to the bedroom and spent the next couple of hours there. After we finished, we were just laying there and then things got weird. He asked if he could spend the night. I personally like my space when I sleep, but I told him that would be fine. He suddenly got really clingy. Like an 8th grader who just got his first girlfriend type clingy. He started just cuddling me, which I guess wasn't horrible, but it was more like he was making a cocoon around me with his body. He then just randomly put his face between my boobs and said, "I just love you so much." I laughed, but it was a very forced laugh. I was sufficiently uncomfortable. I laid there and pretended to text on my phone until he fell asleep. Once I was sure that he was asleep, I moved onto the couch and slept there. Around 5 in the morning he came into the living room and started pitching a fit that I didn't sleep in the same bed with him. At first I told him that I was just having trouble sleeping, but he kept pressing me, so I eventually told him that he was starting to get on my nerves and I requested that he leave. He didn't take the hint. He went into my fridge and helped himself to a beer while singing some song. He then took my phone from me and demanded the password so he could call a few of his buddies over. I can't make this up. I got up and yelled at him to get out. He just dropped my phone on the floor and gave me the death stare. My pet raccoon, yes I have a raccoon, was getting scared. I got right up in his face and told him to leave or I would call the police. He flew into a fury saying that if I called the cops he was going to go to jail. At this point I was scared because I realized that I had no clue who this guy really was. He went into the bedroom and started fumbling through my bras and underwear. I got my phone to call the police. I still have no clear idea why he was doing this other than mental instability. Anyways, he came out holding a pair of my panties and then rushed towards me and knocked the phone out of my hand. I grabbed my hunting knife from under the coffee table and slashed it at him, but it didn't hit him. He started crying and running away. His reaction wasn't compatible with that of someone who is of sound mind. I walked after him, not to hurt him, but to make sure that he was leaving. He got in his car and drove off. I called the police and filed a report and explained his bizarre behavior. They ran the name that he gave me, but nothing turned up. Not him anyways. So this name he gave me was a fake. His personality and life on his dating profile was more than likely all fake. Just a shitty experience.